Bravo team, the intel on this op comes from our informant in Russia. The package is aboard a medium freighter, Estonian registration number 52775. There is a small crew and a security detail on board. Rules of engagement, sir. Crew expendable.
Baseplate, this is Hammer 2-4. We have visual on the target. ETA 60 seconds. Copy 2-4. Seconds, going dark. Seconds. Radio check. Go to secure channel.
Lock and load.
Green light. Go, go, go.
Welcome everybody, Josh here, back at you today with a brand new and special product review. Today we're talking about this, which is Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remastered on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 through backwards compatibility. It's also available on the Xbox Series S and X. As you guys know, I'm a massive fan of the Call of Duty franchise. I've been a huge fan of the Call of Duty franchise ever since it first came out, and I've been playing the games ever since Call of Duty 2 in terms of the multiplayer, and eventually I played the single player campaigns for Call of Duty 3 and then going on to Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. And this game is really amazing. It was really revolutionary for the time. It borrowed a lot of elements from the Halo franchise in terms of the game mechanics, as well as how you fire your weapons and guns, the reload animations and stuff like that. This game was definitely something that took a lot of elements from previous first-person shooters like Doom and Quake and also Wolfenstein and just mashed them together and created a realistic real-world scenario where the Russians are having a civil war. They break apart and there's this separatist group that's taken over called the Ultra-Nationalists, I do believe, and then they're also at war with these individuals in the Middle East as well, because the Russians are obviously the bad guy in the story, and they're threatening all-out war in terms of World War III. And this game gives you a lot of globe-trotting, cool locations to visit in the game. When this game originally released in 2007, everybody that I knew was talking about in school how great the multiplayer was, the single-player campaign. You basically take the role of a British SAS soldier named Soap McTavish. He's being inducted into the SAS, and he has to learn the ropes of being involved in with some of these really realistic and cool characters such as John Price, who is Captain Price in the Modern Warfare franchise and has become uberly popular in terms of the Call of Duty franchise as a whole. And I think that this game had it not had really cool characters like Soap McTavish, even Captain Price, who has become a household name and legend in the Call of Duty franchise, this game probably wouldn't have worked as well as it did. Everybody in terms of the voice actors of this game did a really good job, and it was really cool seeing some of the different locations that you do get to explore, such as a tanker in the opening of the game where you see Soap McTavish as well as a team of Task Force 141 going in behind enemy lines in a tanker that's been hijacked by individuals that are looking to start nuclear war. And you kind of realize that there's a much greater threat upon the not only the British military but also the United States military. You also get to take control over a Marine named Paul Jackson. Paul Jackson is this really tough as nails military soldier who's doing his due diligence to save humanity at all costs. There's this really cool overarching narrative of brothers in arms that really wasn't featured in Call of Duty games even before then. One of the things I really do like about this game compared to some of that of the older Call of Duty games in the franchise, even the World War II settings, is the fact that this has real world weaponry. You have the M4A1, you also have the assault rifles that are infamously famous, such as the AK-47. You got the Uzis that do show up. You get Desert Eagles that show up in this game as well. Different combat weapons that you would see in real world situations even to this very day. There's even heavy machine guns and stuff that you can utilize to take down helicopters within not only the multiplayer but the single player campaign as well. One of the really cool missions that I like at the opening is not only the tanker mission, which is that you're on a ship with your team and you're walking back and forth, which has really realistic graphics even back then in the PS3 when it came out. This game did get a remastered version, which is the version that you're seeing me review here on this channel, and the graphics even back then looked amazing compared to some of the stuff that was coming out at the time. And I think that even for someone like myself who's really interested in linear games and single player story driven narratives like this, the combat mechanics of this were really cool and realistic. A lot of the reload animations were really good. A lot of the, when you fire a weapon, it feels like a realistic weapon. It doesn't feel fake, similar to that of some of the other games that I played in the science fiction universe. And I think that one of the things that makes this game a little bit different is the writing in this game is awesome. It's on par with a Michael Bay blockbuster film. And I think that all these different locations, such as Russia, when you go to Pripyat and you kind of see the Chernobyl incident and go through the all gillied up mission, which is really cool and was really revolutionary at the time, where you're sneaking through military bases, then eventually get to go to Chernobyl itself that's being invaded by hostile enemy forces, and you have to defend that place with Captain Price. The fact that you get to go to different locations, such as defending this tank and being ambushed by a whole bunch of enemy forces in the Middle East, and actually in the Middle Eastern level in the beginning of the game where you see the Middle Eastern president get executed was pretty cool in the way that they did it, in terms of the fact that you get to see through the barrel of a gun looking back at you. It's really horrific at the time. seeing chaos that unfolds in a realistic manner. I don't think that a game such as this would actually get made today with all the themes and the bloodshed that is exposed in terms of the Call of Duty franchise and put onto the player, where you have to deal with realistic scenarios and situations that happen in real life. There's even a really cool mission that takes place in the middle of the game with an AC-130 gunship, and you're piloting the gunship as you're going around destroying everything in its path, which eventually leads to one of the nukes going off while you're in gunship and you're trying to escape the Middle East. And Paul Jackson, I do believe it is the character that ends up getting killed in the game, is taken out by this nuke, and the blast wave just crash lands, and it's a mission where you're kind of going in trying to rescue a pilot and then eventually get nuked at the end of the game. Anyway, I think there's a lot of really cool set pieces in this game, like I stated before, and the set pieces really accentuate the overarching narrative in the game. This game is, like I said before, a single player story driven narrative, so if you don't like single player story driven narratives like Call of Duty 4, probably not going to like this game that much at all. But the multiplayer was something that a lot of us played. I didn't really get to play that much of the multiplayer recently, just because of the fact that the servers are probably down. There's probably not really that many servers up that you can actually play in Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remastered, but they did change a lot of stuff from the original game, even with the remastered version. Like, there wasn't really microtransactions, and now there is microtransactions in the game, which I really don't like. But overall, I think that the package itself is really great. The graphics in this game, even back then, were awesome. Even on the 2007 era of the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, I think they really did hold up in terms of modern day first-person shooters. And even now with the PlayStation 4, the PS5, and even the Xbox Series S and X through backwards compatibility does a really good job of holding up the standards of the Call of Duty 4 franchise. And I think that with the Call of Duty 4 franchise, it really did elevate first-person shooters to a new era and brought the newer generation of COD fans like myself into the fold, and also kind of made it a household name. People like the World War II setting, and then once it went to the Modern Warfare era, that's when a lot of newer generation of players kind of came into the fold and wanted to play this game. So I think this really did set the stage for current generation console first-person shooters. A lot of the gameplay mechanics, like I said before, were borrowed from other games, but the game itself was still revolutionary in terms of the single-player campaign, the story-driven narrative that it does have, the multiplayer aspect to it, which it does take a little bit of a learning curve, and even the graphics itself really do hold up in terms of the Michael Bay over-the-top action style to it that the Call of Duty franchise does have. So let me know in the comment section down below which Call of Duty game is your favorite. Did you like Call of Duty 2, 3, 4? Did you like Modern Warfare 2, the original one? Do you like the newer Call of Duty games where they're taking a more realistic setting and approach to the not only the single-player game but the multiplayer as well? Or do you like the older school Call of Duty games like myself and are a fan of the original story narrative of those games? Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think, and as always guys, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Odcięli the sheet! You are going to be alright, my friend. My нашли здесь одного оставшегося в живых!
отсюда! Быстро, давай! Мы должны доставить его в госпиталь немедленно!
The Russian government released a statement today confirming a series of nuclear missile tests in central Russia. Although world leaders were quick to denounce the action, Russian officials maintained that the missile tests fell well within established UN protocols. No comment was received from the ultra-nationalist party, where rumors of a possible leadership struggle have just begun to surface. In other news, the search for a ship lost in the Bering Strait due to a major storm has been called off.